Trump is the major headline. On Wednesday, he signed an executive order imposing an additional 25% tariff on goods imported from India. He cited India's continued purchase of Russian oil.
Would you agree that we're in a crisis that could have been avoided? And what do you think happened really?
Then, you're really dealing with the Red Queen in Alice in Wonderland, So you can't, as much as you have to deal with the United States and you have to deal with Trump, I think your standard methods of measuring whether you're right or wrong, whether whether you did the right thing or the wrong thing, I think you just can't predict what this guy wants. So if the yardstick is that, you're supplying things or buying things from people who are killing other people, then I guess the United States has to sanction itself to death, There's no...
The only people Trump on record has been loyal friend to are Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
But from my perspective as an observer, there's clearly something wrong in the interpersonal relationship between Trump and Modi, right? And this is not just to do with that ceasefire. I think it dates back earlier.
This is one situation where, as much as I want to blame the Indian clowns who have gone to Washington and are having all these meetings, you can't. Even the very best diplomats and negotiating teams, I just don't see could have come out of this with better outcomes, because you are dealing with a person whom we are very politely calling mercurial.
Amount of Muska, some amount of giving him a gold iPhone or whatever, gold bicycle or a gold, I don't know, Tata Nexon, or I don't know, give him something made of gold. That's
Tata
Nexon. I don't know.
Tata Harrier is a good word. The new EV.
Trump really takes this Tata Nexon.
But in terms of the death toll, the destruction, do we have any idea on what has happened? Because the visuals were very, very scary to see.
After speaking to the officials and speaking to the journalist friends who have some access, we can tell you that the number can be much higher than what we are being told. Support this, that this was a cloudburst. But for cloudburst, according to definition, you require 100 millimeter rainfall in 1 hour in that particular area. So it has not happened. The early warning system in terms of Himalayan region is this only, that you get the situation upper reaches system, but that happens when you have a good number of geologists, hardworking geologists, committed geologists and scientists who go track the foot and map that area and get you good evidence. That needs resources, that needs political will, that needs scientific temperament.
Every time Uttarakhand gets talked about, it's because of some love jihad story, some land jihad story, but I think what's really destroying that state is this rampant disregard for how sensitive it is.
Welcome to Chota Hafta. Now, Chota Hafta is but a small, Chota version of a complete weekly podcast, Newslaundry Hafta. The Newslaundry Hafta is where you get the week's news, what made the headlines, what didn't make the headlines, but the full version is available to subscribers only. And I don't mean YouTube subscribers, although YouTube subscribers are also very welcome, we're very grateful to you, but also to Newslaundry subscribers, the paying subscribers who pay to keep news free. So you can also become a paying subscriber by clicking the subscription link. Now, what do you get if you're a paying subscriber? You get access to all our paywall content, all interviews, podcasts, and importantly, you get access to a full unedited Hafta, where you not only get to hear the week's news, but you get to hear the Newslaundry editors' positions on matters. You get to see their biases, what are their prejudices. It's an exercise in transparency while also informing you, and we have a few quips and jokes and agreements and disagreements thrown in. So listen to the full Hafta, subscribe to Newslaundry, and pay to keep news free. Here we go.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. I'm your host for this week because Abhinandan had some very important meetings to attend to in Bangalore. So he's there and I've taken his place. And we have had a very, very action-packed news week. Trump is a headline that keeps giving, should I say? Every day we have a new headline with him. So we will discuss that. There's some very tragic news coming in from Uttarkashi. I want to discuss that in deep detail because I think it's almost become routine now. Every month, every year in monsoon, yes, I think from July, August, there's really tragic news coming in from either Himachal or Uttarakhand. It's become routine. So we shall be discussing that. We have Hridayesh Joshi who will be joining us later in this podcast. He is in Uttarkashi. So we hope to get some ground details from him on what exactly unfolded there. Our guest today is Nitin Pai. Hi, Nitin.
Hi, good to be back on your show.
Nitin is co-founder and director of the Takshashila Institution, an independent think tank based in India that works on public policy, strategic affairs, and governance. He's joining us from Bangalore. So we shall be discussing this whole tariff Trump tamasha with him. In the studio, we have Shardool.
Hello.
And from Chennai, we have Jayashree joining us.
Hello.
So before we get into the headlines, I wanted to quickly say that we have a special project on India's e-waste underworld. 2 stories are already out. It's looking at recycling in India, e-waste recycling, what's really going on, who are the authorized recyclers, what are the ways in which they operate. 2 stories are out, like I said, but this is an NL Sena project and we need you to contribute to it. It's not been topped up yet. A lot of you have helped us do this story. You've contributed to it, but we still need to close that gap in. So please go to India's e-waste underworld NL Sena project and help us finish this project that we've started. We have Hridayesh in Uttarkashi along with our producer Ashish Anand. 2 reports are already out.
Yes.
The area where this tragedy occurred, Dharali, is still, you can't reach there because it's still blocked. Roads and bridges to it are blocked, so they haven't been able to reach the spot, but they're in the district. They are talking to people there, so do catch their reports and do support this endeavor. We were able to send Hridayesh and Ashish within, I think, 5 hours of the news hitting headlines because we think it's very important to report on what's happening in the Himalayas. There's no better person to do it than Hridayesh. So catch their reporting, but also please support this endeavor of sending reporters every time there's a climate tragedy. We really feel there's an importance to cover it beyond just the event. Let's get the headlines, Jayashree, and then we shall get straight into our topic of the week. Reuters had this piece which basically said that, there were lots of missed signals, overconfidence on our part, and there's one telling quote by a senior Indian government official who blames the collapse on poor judgment, saying top Indian advisors mishandled the process. Goes on to say we lack diplomatic support needed after the US struck better deals with Vietnam, Indonesia, Japan, and the EU, and we're now in a crisis that could have been avoided.
I think the term hypocrisy is meaningless in international relations, right?
Yeah.
Hypocrisy implies that there is a moral standard which you're supposed to adhere to. And if you claim that you're adhering to a moral standard, but you're doing something else, that's what hypocrisy is.
Right.
Now,
But there's no moral standard.
Yeah, hypocrisy is a term which works in normal relations between, people like us within a constitutional country, within a domestic country. Between countries, there's no such thing called hypocrisy because there's no such thing called moral standards, right?
It seems very colonial because if you read the history, take away all the peripherals and, on the frills and Medici collar, if you want to think about it in colonial terms, this is how East India Company used to bully the colonies. Okay, we will sell you goods and you cannot tariff us, and we will heavily tariff your goods.
People, I saw a couple of things where people were saying that, one option is that India can just stop buying the Russian oil, but then, it's the same EU that is buying that same oil after it is refined in India. So that solves no problems. That one card that we could play, why should we play it? And India, at the end of the day, can't open up agriculture and dairy and things like that. So when we're saying were there other levers to pull, what are we analyzing here? Because we're analyzing people on the other side who have behaved in a way that is irrational.
Now, here's why the bad monsoon matters. The bad monsoon reduces our GDP growth rate by about 0.5 to 0.7%. Okay, that's about the impact of a bad monsoon. A really, really terrible monsoon can take you down 1%, 1.5%, but mostly it's in the 0.5% range. Now, the tariffs which our man Trump has announced, 50%, is likely to affect the Indian economy by about 0.5% of GDP. Right? So that's about as much as a bad monsoon does.
So if top government officials and those in the know were listening to you, what advice would you give for the next 26 days, apart from giving gold?
Well, keep your doors open. Think of some big headline deals which can be win-win. Like, let's say we buy nuclear reactors, right? Small nuclear reactors which can solve our energy problem. Deregulate our energy industry, nuclear industry, which has been blocked because of silly politics 15 years ago. Now, if you can say that we're going to buy $100 billion worth of nuclear reactors from the United States over 10 years, and that sort of lubricates the deal, then why not, right? So I think we should be looking for win-wins like this, not be despondent or sort of too emotional about this,
Yeah.
but be as transactional and as as pragmatic as we can be.
So basically give Trump a good headline. So he can say, they're going to buy from us 100
Yeah,
billion.
you guys are very good at phrasing this well. Yeah, that's right. Give Trump a very good headline and give him golden headlines.
Golden. Give him golden headlines. Hridayesh, tell us, where are you right now and where are you off to and what have you seen so far?
So we are very close to this spot until where people are traveling, and it's called Bhatwadi. Bhatwadi, ahead of Bhatwadi, there is a place where the bridge was collapsed, and the BRO and other agencies, they are trying to set up that valley bridge so that the road connection can be established. But we don't know when it will happen. Hopefully by tomorrow. It's still raining here intermittently. So this is all what we can report. But the people who are stranded there, there is no communication because phone lines are not working. So people, relatives, friends here, they are very worried, and they are saying that we have not been even provided the list of the people who are safe. Our viewers should know that we will have more clarity about the correct region of this disaster when the cloud covers gets removed. Because of the cloud covers, we are not getting the clear satellite imagery. Large dams are definitely a problem, and there have been protests, there have been scientific warnings that if you do that, do with a lot of care, a lot of following of the environmental social impact assessment reports. But unfortunately, many of them have not followed.
Like, I worry far more about very immediate concerns around me rather than the long-term worry of where will my planet be in 10 years? What will my neighborhood look like in 15 years? I live right near the sea. Like, the sea is about 300 meters from my gate. But these are things you should worry about, especially we were the privileged ones who are sitting in our ivory towers where we have abilities to move, but lots of people don't. So
Yeah. No, and what Hridayesh was saying about cloudburst, that it has to be 100 mm, this was 2.6 or 3 mm. So it's nowhere close to cloudburst. I think all states have this problem, but I just think Uttarakhand government is the pits when it comes to, there's just no thinking, no vision, and actually there is this thing of how do I make money now?
Yes.
Everyone is simply thinking about money now. And I think for most people, climate change is immediate, man. You're facing this every monsoon. People living there. There was the Joshimath cracks that happened. Then there are these cloudbursts. Cloudbursts have happened. Floods have happened. And this is now a weather. I mean, it's a seasonal thing. It is no longer something that will happen 50 years from now when the earth warms. It's happening to you every monsoon cycle.
After that dam disaster, many people had warned, and because it's an eco-sensitive zone. Yeah. So this is the Bhagirathi stream of Ganga, which comes from a much steeper and much narrower flow. So the water comes with way more force, and this 4-lane highway is regularly, flouting the norms which have to be followed in eco-sensitive zone. Because when Hridayesh was cut, what he was talking about, this is a young mountain, this is a very volatile mountain, still growing,
and they don't have trees. They're not these.
And those trees we were talking about, those 6,500 Devdar trees, they hold the soil. So when the flow comes,
bas muft mein itna ich milega. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the Newslaundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that Newslaundry is trying to encourage, where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads, so that news serves the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to Newslaundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.